On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We've got the city within the city. Bunch of douchebags over there. They are truly fighting the fight. They are fighting against us. And I believe that's a lot of what Trump's actually fighting right now. Iran's a part of that. Again, I've talked before how, of course, there was always the three legs to the stool, but I've kind of added a couple more legs, at least one more. And certainly the terror proxy or the terror arm of that regime would be Iran. And here we are experiencing that. We are having issues with the city of London, which is the city within the city, which took me a long time to understand that. Most of you probably smarter than me, so you got that figured out. But me, took a long time. It's kind of like D.C., being a city within our country. But it's actually a city within a city. It's like the D.C. within London. It's craziness. And they are the problem. They are really the Rothschilds. This is the throne that we must dethrone. Trump is working on that. That is what's happening. And of course, the deep state, which would be most of our politicians, a lot of people in places that we haven't cleared out yet, agencies and whatnot. They're actually doing everything, judges, everything in their power to keep us from freeing ourselves. What we're doing is the most important thing we'll do in our entire lives right now, what we're working on. The ripples we're making today are going to make the biggest difference and will be our legacy, yours, mine, forever. Got a lot to talk about. Let's get the ball rolling. We've got, of course, the receipt of the seventh fallen soldier. Here's some of that with J.D. Vance taking the lead on this one. Apparently there's no sound. Hopefully I got rid of all the crap I just did to try to figure out what the hell. But anyway, this is on Fox News. This should have sound. I don't know why it doesn't. But we have received the individual. That's so strange. I hope it's just this video. We'll find out. I mean, I was just able to play a YouTube video with sound, so something weird's going on here. Whatever the case is, we'll find out hopefully shortly. Here is something Trump shared with us. Kim Clement was prophesying about Trump a bunch. We've got a couple of them here. Check it out.
This that shall take place shall be the most unusual thing, a transfiguration, a going into the marketplace, if you wish, into the news media, where Time magazine will have no choice but to say what I want them to say. Newsweek, what I want to say. The View, what I want to say. Trump shall become a trumpet, says the Lord. Trump shall become a trumpet. I will raise up the Trump to become a trumpet, and Bill Gates to open up the gate of a financial realm for the church, says the Lord. And I will not forget 9/11. I will not forget what took place that day. And I will not forget the gatekeeper that watched over New York, who will once again stand and watch over this nation, says the Spirit of God. It shall come to pass that the man that I place in the highest office shall go in whispering my name. But God said when he enters into the office, he will be shouting out by the power of the Spirit, for I shall fill him with my Spirit when he goes into office, and there will be a praying man in the highest seat in your land. There will be a praying president, not a religious one, but I will fool the people, says the Lord. I will fool the people. Yes, I will. God says the one that is chosen shall go in, and they shall say he has hot blood. For the Spirit of God says, yes, he may have hot blood, but he will bring the walls of protection on this country in a greater way, and the economy of this country shall change rapidly, says the Lord of hosts. Listen to the word of the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord of hosts. Come on!
Yeah, so good, good stuff that Kim put out back in the day. Well, of course, I think many of us think that stuff is coming true. At least those three. Sounds like it, anyways. I don't know about the Bill Gates part. We'll see about that as well. Encrypted messaging app warns government and journalists' accounts are being compromised. They're saying it's not because they've figured out how to do the encryption. No, it's because they're doing phishing scams. And yes, that's all you got to do is actually hack one side or get into one side of the device, and then the encryption doesn't matter. You can be as encrypted as you want. If I am on your device, I am behind the encryption wall. I can see everything. So that's all they have to do. This is one of the very funny misnomers about how the encrypted software works. Sure, somebody can't get the signal in between, right? Your phone's point A, your other friend's phone's point B, right? That's A and B. So between A and B, nothing can come betwixt. But you put something on A, and if you put something on B or either, well, you've got the entire conversation, don't you? Yes. That's simple. So, yeah, they're warning people finally that maybe it's not quite as safe as they were hoping. I think this is important to point out. A lot of people out there, especially if some of them have been a little grumpy towards me, in fact. But a lot of people believe very strongly in what's going on with Erica Kirk. Now, again, fall on it wherever you may. But what I do is I trust Trump first. Period. All right. So I don't trust a bunch of content creators that are digging up God knows what. Okay. I don't give them more credit than Trump. That's for sure. Certainly, Trump has come out and said that Tucker seems to have lost his way. Also, come out against Megyn Kelly. Right. Hasn't directly come out against Candace Owens, but shucks, Erica Kirk has been appointed to Air Force Academy board by Trump. So do with that as you will. We've got why protect crime? This is a big problem that's happening right now. It's the deep state thing, of course. And it's obvious, and it's part of the awakening process for the normies as well as others. So even Meloni, the Italian prime minister, has sharply criticized judicial decisions blocking the detention of migrants transferred to Albania, citing the case of a Moroccan rapist with a long criminal record whom authorities say they cannot detain or deport after he applied for international protection. They are protecting criminals, and some of the worst criminals, certainly sexual criminals. They're protecting them all over the place. Pedophilia, rapists. They're protecting murderers, and they're certainly protecting their thugs on the streets that are stealing, that are robbing stores, taking their goods, creating a black market network of products. They get busted, they're immediately back out on the street, unless they get arrested here in Orange County. A little different story in this county. LA County, you're back out on the street immediately. That's what the deep state keeps doing. Other countries, Hungary is even bitching about it. Meloni's bitching about it. And I think Slovakia is bitching about it. And we've got Turkey kind of bitching about some of this stuff. A lot of unhappy people. Now, the legacy of Jesse Jackson this was an interesting little program here. So there's this pilot program that's getting shot down right now. And it's, again, another example of this. But it's a modest pilot program. And it is introduced allowing the transit agencies to suspend individuals who assault conductors, spit on drivers, punch random riders, or otherwise turn public transportation into a Thunderdome audition. What does the Chicago Tribune say about the story? That not whether the program works, not whether it can be enforced, not whether it deters crime. Nope. Story, apparently, is that it's racist. It's racist to take people that assault conductors, spit on conductors, punch random riders, assault, otherwise turn public transportation into a freaking, like an MMA sport. To bust people that break the law, they say is racist. Why? Not that the law itself is racist, but all the people guilty of the crimes are black and Latino. 100% of them. So thusly, the law must be racist. This is the thinking that we are now dealing with. Donald Trump just prostate punched Joe Biden. Trump rejects shielding Biden records from Senate probes in executive privilege showdown. White House counsel says former president's privilege assertion over mental acuity and family financial dealings investigations is not in the best interests of the United States. I believe those are the words he used when they took Trump's executive privilege away from him. President Trump rejected former President Joe Biden's assertions of executive privilege over a tranche of documents requested by the Senate as part of various probes into the 46th president, determining it is not in the best interest of the United States. White House counsel David Warrington wrote Monday in a letter addressed to the National Archives and Records Administration and was obtained by Fox, says Trump does not uphold the former president's assertion of privilege over records sought in 4 congressional probes. The letter directs NARA to provide the materials to Congress. The dispute centers on documents related to investigations into Biden's health, alleged politically motivated probes into Trump and his allies, and the Biden family's financial dealings, with which Republicans argue go to the heart of Congress's constitutional authority to conduct oversight. Fraud at the highest level. So why wouldn't everybody else think they can get away with it? If the president's doing it, of course, we can all do it. New York PD bomb squad, they evacuated the Gracie mansion, apparently found some more stuff. Anyway, check this out.
We are seeing that now live outside of Gracie Mansion here in New York City. CB, what are we learning?
Hey, Sandra. Well, we are here in New York City's Upper East Side neighborhood. We're actually a couple blocks down from Gracie Mansion, which, yes, is the home of New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Right now, officers are investigating a suspicious device that was found in a popular park nearby called Carl Schurz. We've seen officers block off this area to traffic, and we've got members of the NYPD bomb squad and another command unit that are out here. Again, a suspicious device was located in a nearby park. Someone called it in. I'm told this by a police source, and now officers are investigating. No one is being allowed to drive through this area. And we've also seen, we've also noticed that officers have bomb sniffing dogs that are moving through this area on side streets, going by homes just to look and see whether anything suspicious is uncovered. Obviously, this comes at a very heightened time for people who live in this area because we know a terrorism investigation is underway after the FBI says 2 suspects brought homemade bombs to an anti-Muslim protest in New York City on Saturday. Thankfully, neither detonated, but police have said one of them could have caused a devastating loss of life because it contained a substance called TATP. We also know the investigation into these 2 suspects has now expanded into Pennsylvania, where police say the two men were from. We know overnight there was a controlled detonation at a Pennsylvania storage unit where officers also found more homemade bombs. And now the latest update coming here out of New York City today, the Upper East Side neighborhood, just a couple blocks down from New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's official residence, Gracie Mansion. Officers telling us a suspicious device was located in a nearby park, and now they are investigating. Again, all the streets have been blocked off to traffic, and we're watching as bomb-sniffing dogs move through this area. Residents that I'm speaking with are definitely on high alert. They're concerned and they're confused. Right now, we don't know whether this package that was noticed in the park is anything serious, but certainly officers have every reason to take it seriously and thoroughly investigate this because, again, on Saturday, 2 suspects, police say 2 suspects brought homemade explosives to an anti-Muslim protest. We know those suspects.
Sad part is, too, is there's going to be so many copycats, but we just can't be too careful on these. You certainly don't want to go messing around with some of these explosives. Many of them aren't very stable, too. So, yeah, definitely don't be messing with them, guys. That's for sure. I'll remind you guys of My Pillow. I think I'm supposed to be talking to Mike Lindell likely next week. So we'll see how that plays out, maybe the week after. But they're hinting that I might be chatting with him again. MyPillow.com/OTF. That's MyPillow.com/OTF. Free shipping on your entire order, it looks like. I don't know. They've got double things here, but I'm thinking free shipping on your entire order with the lightning bolt. That's the one I'm going to believe. So if they say anything otherwise, we should make noise. That's what we should do. Giza sheets, Gaza. $29.98. Incredible deal. Deep pockets, that's where they start anyways. Of course, you get bigger sheets, they're going to cost a little more, but incredible 50% off sale, free shipping, guys. It's the time to take advantage of that. Best pillow you're ever going to use, best towel you're ever going to use. I got the 6-piece My Towel sets, $34.98. It's an incredible buy. Again, free shipping. So just $34.98, and they're yours at your house. Best towels you've ever used, I promise you. And there is money-back guarantee on this stuff. And some of the greatest colors. You're going to love the colors to choose from. Check out their seriously, the sheets and the towels alone. And then, I mean, the crucifix is really awesome. Rev 7 if you're into energy drinks, and the stuff is really, really, really good. No ups and downs, no weird highs. The slippers, look at these slippers, man. These things look at the fuzz. These things are so nice. And it's got like a stitch on the side, right? It's got a rubber sole on the bottom. They're literally like 7 layers. It's thick. These are like indoor, outdoor if you need to. They're amazing slippers, and they've got them on sale, $59.98. It's an incredible deal. Again, free shipping, and I think it comes with that free suede protectant, and it's legit suede. They're really, really nice slippers. They're really nice. And again, the thickness of the fuzz inside is so good. Blankets starting as low as $25. They've got children's pillows with the prayers and stuff like that. $39.98 for 5 packs. So you can get gifts for all the grandkids or whatever you've got going on. It's fantastic. Incredible socks. Again, everything they make is really, really good. I know it sounds like I just think it is. I've got the socks. They're awesome. They're surprisingly good. It trips me out. The way they fit my foot, they're almost hard to get on. I've said it before. They're extraordinarily comfortable. You want a sock to wick away any moisture, right? Because otherwise your feet get gross. Start smelling. They're so tight that all it can do is wick away. They're a very, very, I didn't realize, like, I've never had really nice socks. I just say these are probably the nicest socks I've ever had. They trip me out. They truly trip me out. I mean, for $3.99 a pair, I mean, you got to assume they're pretty good. They are really, really good. Fantastic socks. I've got clothing of all kinds. They've got gummies of all kinds. You can go to mystore.com and use OTF, or go to mystore.com/OTF. Same concept applies there. And you're going to save money as well. Also, the dog beds. If you love your dog, come on. Get them a My Pillow that they can sleep on. Get them an extra one if you need to, right? $39.98. It's a great deal, and free shipping. It's coming to you just $39.98, $40. And you've got a pillow for your dog that they're going to just be like, really? You're giving this to me? Oh, my God. Trust me. MyPillow.com/OTF. It's going to give you the best night of sleep of your whole life, and it's going to make your dog fall in love with you all over again. Fantastic. MyPillow.com/OTF. That's MyPillow.com/OTF. Again, best night of sleep. You're going to love it. Oh, you're going to love it. Such good stuff. GOP leaders. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but Trump is pissed off about what's going on. John Thune's not really able to get this across the goal line. He's saying, having studied it, researched it pretty thoroughly, you have to show me how it prevails and succeeds. Because I think what has been promised out there is that it would actually get an outcome, and I find it very hard to see that based on actual past experience. I don't know how this is. There were a couple of different occasions where the Democrats contemplated doing this, both under Majority Leader Harry Reid and Majority Leader Schumer, and they opted against it. Said what people don't realize, I think, is that's unlimited debate, but it's also unlimited amendments. And this is an interesting point. He says you have to have unified support, not only in support of the ultimate goal, which is the Save America Act, but on the process to be able to defeat amendments that would undo the legislation in the first place. Meaning that during this process, the Dems can keep trying to push forward crazy stuff, crazy bills, crazy things, including nobody has to show ID. And if the Republicans don't have their ducks in a row, or if you've got people like Massey or people that are just like, oh, I'm going to step out and get dinner, then they literally can push that stuff through, and we can't stop it. What this does is it opens up kind of a quagmire that we likely don't have the support for, is what he's saying. He's basically saying, I don't think we can pull this off right now. Trump, sorry. If we do this, this won't work. Now, that very well might be the point. That Congress is broken. I'm sure Trump's well aware of the Brunson case, right? Whether that ever sees the light of day or not is irrelevant. Trump is well aware of the fact that Congress's approval rating's like 12% or something stupid, if that. And Trump's got the real numbers. the whole point of this might very well be that 85% of the population of this country, at least the voting population of this country, 85% think showing voter ID or showing ID to vote is acceptable. And we can't even get 50% of Congress to support it. We can't even get 60% of Congress, which is what we need. We can't get it. Why? Why? Every one of us should be emailing our senators and be like, why aren't you voting for this? 85% of this country, Democrats included, want this. Why aren't you passing this? I don't care if they're a Democrat in your state. Fetterman will probably come on board with this, and others too, likely. But right now, the deep state, douchehole and friggin' city within the city have absolute, complete control of our Congress, of parts of our government, not the military. It's probably about the only thing we actually have control of. President, too. I mean, executive branch we have control of. So that's fair to say. Judicial, doubt it. And legislative, definitely not. 85%. It's unreal. So, I get where Thune's coming from. Now, is Thune doing everything he can? I don't know. I mean, I think maybe we'll see. I don't know. Remains to be seen as far as I'm concerned. Vote's a long way from now. We'll see how this all plays out. This is theater. This is weird. This is meant to be that. Exactly what it is. A demonstration. So rather than get hung up and emotional about it, understand this is what's being presented to us. Here's facts that they are showing us. When Trump does his executive order, we've got to exhaust every other possibility. Every other possibility must be exhausted or else. So here we go. Carolyn Leavitt spent several minutes addressing millions of strongly people advocating for the Save America Act. I want to play this because this is basically Trump's words.
On another matter here at home, President Trump is urging Congress to pass the Save America Act, one of the most critical pieces of legislation in our nation's history. The Save America Act is overwhelmingly popular with all Americans because each provision is rooted in common sense. The Save America Act has 5 simple requirements as requested by the President of the United States. Number 1, voters have to show ID to cast a ballot in an American election. Very simple. 90% of Americans, including more than 80% of Democrat voters, agree with this. Number 2, the Save America Act will require all voters to show proof of citizenship in order to register to vote in American elections. Again, this is popular and rooted in common sense. Only American citizens have the right to vote in American elections. But after Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed tens of millions of illegal aliens into our country, it's more important than ever to ensure that only American citizens are registering to vote on our nation's voter rolls, and Congress needs to pass this. Number 3, the Save America Act abolishes the incredibly unsecure practice of universal mail-in ballots, which throw the door wide open for fraud. Importantly, the Save America Act maintains exceptions for Americans to use mail-in ballots like for illness, disability, military, or travel reasons. The bipartisan 2005 report of the Commission on Federal Election Reform, chaired by, of all people, former President Jimmy Carter and former Secretary of State James Baker, concluded that, quote, absentee ballots remain the largest source of potential voter fraud, and it is time for Congress to finally address this. Number 4, the Save America Act permanently bans men from competing in women's sports. President Trump signed a landmark executive order upholding the promise of Title IX and ending this dangerous and unfair practice. But now it's time for Congress to codify this into law. Number 5, the Save America Act bans transgender mutilation surgery for children. Again, President Trump signed a common sense executive order to do this and kept his promise to the American people, but now Congress needs to do the same and codify it. It's well past time for Democrats in Congress to stop perpetuating the radical and false claim that you can somehow change a child's sex. You cannot. Passing the Save America Act is the most important thing that Republicans and, frankly, Democrats can do to strengthen election integrity and protect our democracy. It's what the American people elected Republicans to do, and they must deliver on it as soon as possible. The president is calling on Congress to get the job done and send this historic piece of legislation to his desk immediately for signature. So
we got to get this passed. That's all there is to it. Crazy stuff, Gavin Newsom. Got two things here to just hopefully slime this piece of shit even further. Oh, sorry. Pardon my French. A piece of merde. Gavin Newsom's wife has reportedly been pocketing millions of dollars from her charity, which supposedly combats harmful gender norms. She's personally paid herself nearly 1/3 of the nonprofit's total income every year. 1/3, 33% of all donations for harmful gender norms goes to her. It gets worse.
So Gavin Newsom and his wife actually created an organization just to steal some of the fire aid money. Like, how this man is still governor of California and not behind bars is fucking mind-blowing. So I'm sure most of you have heard about the fire aid controversy, where they had this concert to raise $100 million for the victims of the Palisade fires. And people started asking, hey, where the fuck did all that money go? Because there's not a single person who was a victim of the Palisade fires who's seen a cent of it. And through some investigative journalism, what we found is that they distributed the money in 2 rounds. Now, the first round just went to just a fuckload of NGOs. Like, some of them have nothing whatsoever to do with fire recovery, but they handed out $50 million apparently to all these corporations, and nobody did a fucking thing. But then when we got to round 2, this shit got even murkier. Because when you actually look at the names of who was given money under round 2, you saw this little organization called Cal Volunteers. Now, that organization is no longer listed as a recipient on the website. Funny how once the story broke, they took their name off the website. I mean, that doesn't look guilty at all. But Cal Volunteers is an organization that was recently created by Gavin Newsom and his wife. And they have never done fucking anything before this. This organization was created strictly for the purpose of getting fire aid money. And they've not said what they plan to do with the money they got. They haven't even said how much of the money they received. No, all they did when people noticed that fucking Gavin Newsom's organization was getting money was take down their name and their organization from the website where the fire aid money went. So, like, not only did these fires happen because Gavin Newsom is a shit governor and doesn't know how to manage shit, not only was the response to these fires complete and total dog shit because Gavin Newsom's a horrible governor, but after his failures, he then created an organization just to siphon off money that they raised to take care of the people that he was supposed to take care of. This dude is a top tier fucking criminal.
Now, the fun part, extrapolate that out just in the state. Then we'll go from there. So we're talking one fire here, Palisades fire. So one NGO, few NGOs, other NGOs, all taking probably at least 33% of the money donated. At least. Okay, so all the concert they did that raised money for the fire victims, 100% of that did not go to fire victims at all. Went to other stuff, and 33% to someone's salary. Now, imagine this. Every year, California is famous for our forest fires. And every year, California declares an emergency. And every year, California hits up the federal government for, yes, money. You starting to see how this works now? 33% of that federal money. I'm just using numbers, folks, all right? If it's higher, if it's lower, let's just call it 33%. We've got some verification. And if that's what she's doing, that must be the norm. 33% of all federal money that comes into the state for fires is stolen by rich effers who definitely vote Democrat. Well, definitely vote deep state. They're uniparty when they have to be. Get all pissed off at the Democrat Party and then they come over to our side. You've seen it happen over and over, haven't you? Except you weren't awake then. Look what's happening. Extrapolate it out. What's going on in Minnesota? Extrapolate it out. We're being shown microcosms of the macrocosm. We're being shown individual locations to keep them separate because, one, it helps us bust a bunch of places, especially states that we need to get elections and shit like that fixed, especially, immigration and other things. But it also shows individual programs that are being taken advantage of. This is happening in Oregon and Washington, Montana. They've been having fires all over the place. Where's the benefit of fixing your forests when you're going to get rich on every fire that starts? In fact, maybe, who knows, you might pay people to go and start up 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or all of them. Many people are like, oh, they're using beams from the sky. Maybe in some cases. Maybe. But you don't need to. That's what I keep telling people. You don't need to use crazy exotic weapons when you literally can go, hey, homeless guy, I'll give you some drugs if you start a fire over there. Okay. That's it. Or even go out and do it yourself if you're so motivated. It's not hard to start a fire. That's the thing. And if you got windy conditions or it's dry already, and fires create their own weather to a degree. I mean, again, guys, it's just an example. It's one of so many, right? I don't live in swampy areas, but I'm sure there's weird shit that happens in swampy areas, and all of a sudden you got a federal emergency, right? Swamp gas is killing people, right? The gators are coming. I don't know what happens. I'm sure there's an example in your place, too. Even Dems are questioning Rep. Swalwell, as I like to call him, his eligibility to run for governor of California. Literally, the dude's permanent address is D.C. Not here. Not here. Because there's 2 Republicans, I think, that are reasonably both doing really well in the polls compared to others, because this state's just like, fuck Newsom. This state hates Newsom. We've tried to get rid of him, and everyone's like, you got what you voted. I want everybody to stop saying that. Just seriously. Every single time you say that, I want you to understand, no, none of us are getting what we voted for. None of us. Utah's a mess right now. It's about as red as it gets. Now they got a blue district that they've allowed to carve in. What the fuck's going on in Utah? And of course, you can't talk like that in Utah. They probably punch you, with a Bible or something. Needless to say, yeah, even the Democrats are pissed off about Swalwell. Virginia voters beginning to redistricting referendum voting. They say if another, it's like weird to have a law like this, but if another state changes between censuses, their redistricting, then we can do it. So we're doing it too. So I guess they're having some sort of special election coming up. Any of you all that live in Virginia, please vote in this stupid election. Election day for the referendum is April 21st. Please show up in force and numbers. Make sure it's us that are there, because who cares about this? We need to. The vote is the most important thing we've got. Now, again, I always think it's funny as hell, because we're about to do it too. We're going to vote on whether or not we should have voter ID to vote. Are you fucking serious? I'm going to go to a vote that I know is fucking rigged to vote on something I know you don't want me to have? It's not going to pass. I could fucking have 100% of every single one of us vote for it, and it still won't pass. Fucking crazy. Top House Republicans faces primary revolt over Utah redistricting. This is just, they literally got rid of one of the Republican seats in Utah. And they did it around Salt Lake City because they're trying to blow up Salt Lake City. Trump's worried about the stupid lake running out of water, which is insane because you got fucking snow all around you. So they must be funneling it off somewhere else, giving it to California so they can flush it down the toilet, just send it out to sea. No, we got this carp eggs, and if we don't keep them wet all the time, who knows? They might stop having eggs there. Well, okay. Fuck them. No offense, but we don't need carp eggs right there. I don't think the species is going to die out. It's going to have to figure out something else. That's what they do. Survival. It happens. It'll happen. They'll start just pooing on the beach or something. It'll be cool. So, yes, we got this thing going on in Utah. I don't even want to pretend to understand what the hell's going on in Utah. Nobody understands Utah except Utah. And even Utah's having a hard time with Utah right now. Let's be honest. Trump halts small business loan programs for foreign nationals. Just done. Nope. You're foreign national? No, you're not getting it. The Trump SBA is committed to driving economic growth, job creation for American citizens, says Kelly Loeffler, right? Last month, we made it clear that SBA would not allow foreign nationals to access our core small business loan programs. And today, we are expanding that policy to include all SBA guaranteed loans. So we are shutting down people that should not get the money. A lot of this stuff's going overseas, guys. This is how we've been bleeding money everywhere. Trump is stopping it. We are just barely a year plus into his term. Like, right? We're a good solid month and a half, 2 months almost into his second year, right? So a lot's happened. If anyone doubts that, you come have a little chit chat, I guess. You know, we can talk about that. That's a little crazy. I'm probably going to have a hard time believing it, but all right, okay. Let's talk. I think this is pretty cool. I'm calling this, government fraud. Cassidy Trump attacked Secret Service agent, remember her, Cassidy Hutchinson? Yeah, she referred for criminal charges now by Congress. She lied. Straight up lied. And then the whole thing with Cindy Cheney talking to him, or her, might be right, talking to this person. I actually think she's a chick, but whatever. I mean, but anyway, Cindy Cheney was talking to her without her lawyer, which wasn't okay. And then all of a sudden, this weird story comes out. Wonder what she's going to do. Is she going to take the fall for Cindy Cheney, do you think? Why do I feel like I'm saying Cheney's, what her name is wrong? I don't remember what her first name is. Is it Cindy's? Anyway, whatever the stupid blonde chick's name is. Cassidy Trump, maybe it's right. Who knows? I don't even care. She referred for criminal charges. She's going to turn, for sure. So that's going to go not well, right? For a name I can't remember properly, for sure, with confidence. A Federal Bureau of Investigation task force has begun excavating the separate set of books FBI keeps using an inaccessible prohibited access file designation. According to multiple government sources, so can't trust this, though an internal fight over how to handle the files continues, supposedly Kash Patel has been trying to get into this, so we'll see. We'll see. I didn't see that the first time I read it. Normally I'm pretty good about catching that. Sorry. Yeah. I would have kept it out. The whole story is bullshit. Racket news. Get out of here. Sorry. That's an instant. That's Reuters, Politico, and Axios. Well, Politico and Axios and Reuters typically are the ones that are pushing those stories. Whenever you see that. WAPO and probably the New York Times, I think, is maybe the other one. Wall Street Journal, I've seen them show up on that. But yeah, they're the ones that love to push those alleged sources story. I feel bad about that. I should be smart and cut it out. Trump targeted by 4 FBI code-named counter-intel probes. There's 4 of them now, apparently. Let's see, is this from more bullshit? I think this was legit. now I'm all doubting myself. Shoot. Director Kash Patel is reviewing 4 consecutive counterintelligence probes. Crossfire Hurricane, we've heard of that. Round River, have you heard that one yet? Maybe. What about Plasmic Echo? Or Arctic Frost? That's the new one we had recently sort of heard about. 2 new ones, Round River and Plasmic Echo. They all targeted President Trump and hundreds of his supporters from 2016 through his January 2025 inauguration. Betting money some of us ended up on that list. Whatever, they're digging into it. We'll find out. Wiretaps, all that crap. I could tell you guys some of the crazy experiences that I've had. Anyways, Oregon federal judge, he's blocking ICE from using crowd control munitions at Portland facility. Right. Yeah, got another judge telling the cops how they can do their jobs. They are not allowed. There's just a case right now where an appellate court shut down a district court for telling the executive branch how they can do their job. They're not allowed to do that. They're allowed to weigh whether a law is legal or not legal. They can't do this. This is woefully way out of bounds for a judge to do. So Judge Simon, he's probably just like the same douchey one from America's Got Talent. You ever watched him? No, that dude's a dick. Man, that's what he's supposed to be. I mean, that's the point of the show. I mean, maybe he sounds like a dick in real life. I've heard it, but whatever. I don't know. Trump DOJ improperly installed New Jersey prosecutor. Now we've got this judge ruling that this could literally cause thousands of federal criminal cases could be dismissed as a result. Literally having a judge that's pushing something that literally would fuck up the legal system. Just think about that for a second. Whether it's right or wrong, you have to actually sit there and go, thousands of cases. This is one thing I think the Supreme Court's had to wrestle with at times. But thousands of cases could literally be undone. There could be appeals happening for decades because of that. Because whatever they're setting as precedent now has happened before. It's just Trump's doing it right now. So they're willing to break every friggin' law to get their point across. It's insane, right? I mean, am I the only one smoking crack right now or what? I mean, I don't know. It just feels like it sometimes. Huh? I don't know. FBI obtains election records from Arizona Senate. Yes, they literally went in. This is so awesome. Large volume of Arizona's election records from the state senator as well. FBI did a raid. And we've got Maricopa and we've got Fulton in Georgia. Two huge places. If I were you guys, I would be expecting another city to pop up soon. I am curious if they're going to save Pennsylvania for last. Certainly, Michigan, I think Wisconsin might even be on that list. But Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer's been playing real nice lately. I really, really, really wonder how bad things were in that state because it was very strange how nice she became. Immediately started showing up at the White House. You guys remember that, right? She's been there a bunch. No other blue governor has done this. Why is that? Why is that? Something weird going on. Maybe she was a plant all along. Who knows? It's hard to believe because she's done horrible stuff. Whatever the case was, she seems to have probably offered up some info as well. We'll see, again, how all that fun plays out. Paxton beats Cornyn no matter who Trump endorses is what the poll numbers are suggesting at the moment. I think this has worked out really well, and I think Trump did that on purpose. He kind of put them head to head because we know we're supposed to hate Cornyn, or not hate, dislike Cornyn, because Cornyn's a pile of trash, right? So, yeah, why isn't Paxton doing better? So it sounds like Paxton's trying a little harder maybe. Paxton's getting up in front a little more rather than just, I'm arresting so-and-so or whatever. No, do more than that. You need to get in front of the camera, and Trump knows that. You got to spend time in front of the camera. That is the only way. Get that weird-ass eye in front of everybody and get used to it so we can get comfortable with it because otherwise we're all going to trip on it. It's like Hot Wheels, man. We got to get used to the fact that, you are in a wheelchair. Damn, that's weird. I thought that was just like a thing, Like, this congressman, I had a good dear friend in a wheelchair, so come on, I'm trying to be disrespectful, please. It's a fucked up life by far. The dude was having to roll on carpet one time. He's like, carpet is not a person's friend in a wheelchair. He didn't have them little handles either, so you can't really push his wheelchair. I think I tried to help him, and he's like, dude, I got this. I was like, all right, no worries. This congressman just quit the GOP. Here's what it takes. He says he's going to keep voting with the GOP, but what's happened is he got redistricted in California. So he's now in a Democrat district. And so he has no chance of winning as a Republican. So he's flipping to independent, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. He says, I'm going to continue to vote conservative with the Republicans, but I'm changing my party affiliation. And again, I think a lot of people should get comfortable with this concept because I think a lot of independents are going to begin being a question mark because so many of us are so used to the guarantee you're either going to vote as a Democrat or you're going to vote as a Republican. Well, maybe life is a little more complex than that, and we need to address the fact that some people vote too much with party and less with what's right. Sometimes voting what's right is more important than voting what your party wants. I don't know. This again, we have this two-party system's also a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's all the above. Georgia's supposedly going to be choosing the replacement for Marjorie Taylor Brown. Georgia's 14th district, I'm trying to find the date, April 7th is the runoff. So any of you Georgians out there, please make sure you vote for that and make sure we get someone good in there. Anyone other than Marjorie Taylor, which obviously she's not on the ballot, thank God. We're going to primary her anyway, so she saved herself some pain there. Democrats are suing Trump over tariff workaround. Now they're trying to go after the Section 122. This is hilarious because this is past, they say, 4,000 legal battles. So this will be interesting. Coalition of 24 Democratic attorneys. I'm wondering what's going to happen with this. Obviously, we're going to have another judge that's going to try to shut down tariffs. This is all the deep state, guys. I'm telling you, it's that bastard on the thumbnail. That's what's going on. I'm just saying. Mysterious Zorro Ranch. This is the one that Epstein owned, where the girls' bodies are allegedly buried, the story that's running around. Apparently they searched it Monday, or started their search. We don't know anything other than that, but they've officially began searching. They'll probably be digging stuff up at some point and tripping everyone out. I'm sure there's drones flying over, but probably not allowed. And if they find out who you are, you get in big trouble for that, by the way. Just so you know. Just so you know, if you're flying a drone in a place you're not supposed to fly a drone, they'll figure it out, and you'll be effed. All right, we got some stuff going on here. Senator Doug Burgum is revealing that Democrats and Chuck Schumer blocked President Trump from filling the strategic oil reserves yet. Anyway, let's let him do his part because it's a very interesting point he makes.
Back in 2020, President Trump wanted to get the thing filled up to the max, and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats voted against it and called it and President Trump, he's a buy low, sell high guy. He was going to fill it up at $20 a barrel, which would have been a gift to the Americans. Instead, Biden drained it about in half, 400 million barrels ahead of the midterms in 2022 to try to get the price down at the pump. I mean, Biden turned it into his own personal petroleum reserve for political purposes. But right now, I know that internationally, there's lots of reserves. There is a lot of supply of oil around the world, a lot of it floating. Here in the U.S., I mean, President Trump's energy dominance policy for Americans should know that we are completely well supplied in America. We are absolutely not dependent on oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz in the Middle East. We've never been more energy independent and energy secure than right now. There's energy security for Americans. And as President Trump says, this price increase is going to be temporary, and it is a small price to pay for the idea that we're going to get rid of a terrorist regime that has been holding the world economy hostage for 47 years with the threat of closing the Strait, taking away their ability to do that, taking away their ability to fund 24 terror groups and kill Americans. That's going to be lower prices and world peace and economic stability for decades to come. President Trump, 100% correct on the long-term benefits versus a little short-term volatility.
Yeah, and he's right. And as it's played out, oddly, it's exactly how it played out. Again, all of this is almost too perfect. It's not a trip. It is a trip. Putin convened a meeting on the situation of global oil and gas market. Statements that he made, global oil prices have risen by 30% over the week. The current high prices for energy resources are temporary, and Russia understands this. Russian energy companies have always been distinguished by stability. They need to take advantage of the current situation, use the revenue to repay debts to banks. Oil production, which is tied to the Strait of Hormuz, risks completely stopping in the next month. Russia is ready to work with Europeans on oil and gas supplies, but they need to send a signal. Russia will continue to supply oil and gas to those countries that are reliable buyers, including Slovakia and Hungary. Now, Trump is saying that the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran is very, very far ahead of schedule. He was on with CBS. He says, I think the war is very complete, pretty much. They have no Navy, no communications. They've got no Air Force. Their missiles are down to a scatter. Their drones are being blown up all over the place, including their manufacturing of drones. If you look, they have nothing left. There's nothing left in a military sense. We don't need to put boots on the ground, but we've literally destroyed their entire military. They might have some people running around with guns, but that's it. So President Trump says we will remember the Starmer wasn't about him. It was a death sentence for the City of London's global empire. Everyone thought Trump's Truth Social post was just him dunking on UK PM Keir Starmer, or what's that, Queer Starmer, I think someone's been calling him a ghost. It's funny as hell. I like that one. Anyway, wrong. That's dead wrong. That's not what he was doing. It was a direct shot across the bow at the City of London, the financial heart of the old British Empire that's been running the rules-based order for decades. Why did Britain, the country that dragged us into every war since World War I, suddenly sit this Iran conflict out? Starmer told Parliament UK's action must always have a lawful basis, viable and thought-through plan in our national interests. Translations: war is bad for the City of London's business. Trump knew it. The city knew it. Game on. There is no oil crisis. All of ye headlines screamed. Oil spiking, Strait of Hormuz closed, tankers can't get insurance, panic. Oh no! Energy Secretary Chris Wright shut that shit down. The world is very well supplied with oil. There is no energy shortage at all. This is not a long-term war. What you are seeing is emotional reactions and fear. The Lloyds of London, the city's insurance arm, they pulled war risk coverage from Persian Gulf shipping within hours of the conflict starting. No insurance equals tankers don't sail equals artificial price spike on command. This isn't market forces. This is the city's business model. They don't produce oil. They control the contracts, futures markets, insurance, and shipping lanes. Whoever owns those choke points collects a toll on everything that moves on the planet. Now, President Trump and the United States of America own those choke points. Lloyd's lever pull equals instant profit from chaos they created. Chatham House and the protection racket. The city's foreign policy arm, Chatham House, immediately declared Trump-Iran operations illegal. No UN mandate, no self-defense, etc. Exact same script they used on Venezuela. Meanwhile, London real estate press was salivating. Gulf sovereign wealth funds fleeing the conflict zone and parking money in London property. They engineered the spike and positioned themselves to profit from the fallout. Classic. Trump's three killer moves. 1. Trump issued $20 billion U.S. maritime reinsurance and escort plan. This replaced Lloyd's of war risk coverage entirely. American tankers now sail protected. Lloyd's leverage? Gone. Move 2. Trump lifted Russian sanctions selectively. This kept oil flowing to crash the artificial spike. Prices have already collapsed over 30% in days, below $84 a barrel after hitting multi-year highs on the manufacturing panic. Move 3. Trump broke the sanctions and dirty money racket, targeting London-linked offshore laundering networks. New hemispheric anti-cartel cooperation and joint resource development in Argentina, Chile, and beyond. Choking off the city's other revenue streams, drugs, crime, sanctions evasion. President Trump is formally ending 80-plus years of the City of London using Britain as a junior partner to run global finance, sanctions as a racket, and America as the muscle. He's ended it. City of London is being destroyed. Crude oil's down, well, it was down 9%. Down to 86.46. Again, it dipped even harder than that earlier. Stock markets are doing okay, right? They're flat for the most part. Gold and silver are both up. Silver's up $4, $88, so it's starting to push back up, and they're running out of abilities to do this. A lot of this is people in the city that have been pushing things down, and they can't do it anymore. So again, gold's almost at 52. Silver's almost at 90 again. The numbers are getting kind of crazy. Now, people are moving money into crypto, and I think a lot of that is some of the stocks, some of the bonds. You move it into crypto because you don't necessarily pay taxes. It doesn't show up. It's an easier way to hide money, essentially, at least currently. It's not really hidden technically, but governments don't really know how to find it right now, so they generally, like the IRS isn't really good at finding it, but intelligence agencies for sure see it. All said. That's where we are. Look, drslikesgold.com. You guys know the spiel. I've said it a bunch. If you're new to the channel, you're going to hear it a bunch more. But It's your value of what you can purchase. It's your purchase power. You want to save it. If you've got a 401k or an IRA, I woun't wait until the stock market starts to think it's going to crash or I think I've gotten the highest I'm going to get. Look, I'd just protect my wealth and make sure I'm okay. I've got a little bit of gold and silver myself. It's something I believe in without a doubt. I've actually purchased from Goldco. I love these guys. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. If you're in a 401k, IRA, move your money tax-free, penalty-free, sideways. You can't touch it. You don't get to touch it. You're not going to be allowed to touch it. If you touch it, it costs you a bunch of money. Don't do that. Move it sideways. They're going to park it in a trust. Then at that point, they buy precious metals with it, and they put that into like a vault, basically. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Literally tax-free, penalty-free, and it's actual physical metals. And yes, when you're at a point where you can collect, you can actually collect the metals. Just, again, there's a penalty and all this other crap. So you just want to be careful when and how you do that. It's pre-tax money. That's kind of how 401ks work. They're dicks when you pull the money out early. They don't like that. And they especially don't like it when you move it out into precious metals because you're protecting yourself and you're out of their system. All that said, go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Protect your wealth while you can, and you're going to be the one smiling all the rest of the way through this event that we're going through because it's crazy times. Democrat-controlled Virginia Senate just passed a new bill banning the sale of assault firearms and any large-capacity magazines in the state. This has been proven to be unconstitutional all over the place. All over the place. So that's got zero chance, and this assault firearms thing's not gone through either. So hopefully it finally forces the Supreme Court to get involved. That'd be nice. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla, he has a meltdown apparently on this thing, and he says people at the WEF, or he's talking about how the WEF, how they're pissed off about so many people are refusing vaccines, saying he's deeply concerned and frustrated, blasting what he describes as religion-driven anti-science rhetoric. I don't need to say anything more than that. That's what he said. Canadian police investigate reports of gunfire at U.S. consulate in Toronto. So now we've again got shooting at a U.S. consulate in Canada. Nice. Where there's not supposed to be any guns, I think. The European Union is in deep shit. No doubt about it. President Putin's actually instructed its government to consider early halt of all energy supply to the European market. And those volumes will be shipped to other markets that are more promising to us. And as I've been saying, what if a lot of this was to essentially screw the deep state, which is Europe? The European Union is the deep state. Trump is destroying the city as well as Brussels. And really, not destroying the Vatican, but the Vatican's, they've been douchey in some of the comments they've made, but you've noticed how there hasn't really been any, he's not Catholic, so there's no connection. We've already disconnected, if you will, oddly. See, these things are happening. As much as people are, no, and they're bad, and da-da-da. It's happening, folks. There's no question about that. All right, we got a lot with Iran. I apologize. We're going to go a little long, probably video-wise, but it's mostly going to be cool stuff that you're going to want to see. So first, the regime announced that its newly appointed supreme leader was supposed to appear on TV. He never did. They're kind of rolling. Again, we know he might have been injured. We don't know if that was recent, if they're talking about the past. We don't know how severe those injuries might be. We also have to acknowledge that if this dude shows up in a TV studio someplace that's anywhere near above ground, he's toast. He's toast. That whole building will get rocked, unquestionably, just to be able to take out any security that might be there. I it'd be unquestionable. So, yeah, he didn't show up. This is where the U.S. struck over 5,000 targets in the first 10 days of the war. This is somewhat redundant, so I'm going to pass on that for the moment, as much as it was actually decent. And it's Tiffany.
There's footage that shows that an American missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic, it's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now.
I did not know that. I didn't know Iran I didn't know we sold tomahawks to other people, frankly. I mean, I figured maybe, England and some of them people, but yeah, the fact that we gave them to Iran, they had F-14s. I mean, we were good friends with Iran at one point. We actually liked them at one point, especially during the Iraq War. They were kind of friends of ours. Democrats plan to stall the Senate to force Rubio and Hegseth to testify in the war. Two dudes that are real busy kind of dealing with this war and Cuba, right? Really important shit going on. These guys are literally doing really, really important stuff. And the Senate's like, yeah, we're not going to vote for anything unless you get them in front of us and waste an entire day of their life. That's kind of ridiculous. So again, our Congress sucks. Please email them. Just like, be a dick. I'm not a dick. Be polite. But 85% of the people support this. 85%. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Get on it, because that's stupid. Or independent, which is nice. Here's Pete Hegseth talking about the war. I think this was like early today.
Today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles they've been capable of firing yet. Just the bifurcation, just the trend lines that we talked about on our first briefing. You see, this is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kinds of never-ending, nebulously scoped missions. Those days are dead. Instead, we're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives on our timeline.
And again, I'm like, kill as few people as you can, but the ones that are truly evil, the ones that insist on towing up, I don't recommend it. It's not a great idea, but sometimes things got to happen the way they are. Here is Raising Cane doing his spiel of this. Check it out.
To continue the updates to the American people and to those in the room on Operation Epic Fury. First, let me start with honoring our fallen. As the Secretary said, on Saturday and again last night at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, our nation's leaders honored our returning fallen as they arrived home for their final time. Last week, I shared a few of the names, and today I want to share the rest. Major Jeffrey O'Brien and Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert Marzan were the final two fallen to return home and members of the U.S. Army Reserve's 103rd Sustainment Command out of Des Moines, Iowa. Last night, as the news has been reporting, we honored the return of Staff Sergeant Benjamin Pennington of the U.S. Army's 1st Space Brigade from Fort Carson, Colorado. When I met Ben's family last night, his mom, his dad, and his sister, they showed me a drawing that Ben had made when he was in kindergarten. It was clear all the way back then that Ben wanted to do one thing in his life, and he wanted to serve his country and be a soldier. And to the Penningtons, just know how Ben was absolutely a great one. And finally, Major Sorfleet Davies, who returned home this weekend after sadly passing away from a medical condition while on duty in Kuwait. We welcome him home as well and mourn with his family. To the families and the families of all of our fallen, we share in your profound grief. The Joint Force remains eternally grateful for your sacrifice and the gift of a great example that your service members have given all of us. I want you to know that their names will never be forgotten, and you and your family are part of our Joint Force family forever. Let me talk a little bit about the progress thus far, acknowledging that Admiral Cooper will likely continue to give updates from CENTCOM. As the Secretary said, we're in the 10th, moving into the 11th day of Operation Epic Fury. The Joint Force remains focused on 3 military objectives. Continue to destroy Iranian ballistic missiles and drone capability in order to prevent attacks on the U.S. and others throughout the region. And this means attacking launch sites, command and control nodes, stockpiles before they can threaten our personnel, our facilities, and our partners. Second, we continue to strike the Iranian Navy and their capabilities in order to do things like sustain movement through the Straits of Hormuz. And third, we continue to start working on and going deeper into Iran's military and industrial base in order to prevent the regime from being able to attack Americans, our interests, and our partners for years to come and project power outside their borders. This means servicing production facilities, research and development sites, and infrastructure. Let me turn to the map. We're going to try digital today to prevent laser injury. Since our last update, CENTCOM continues to make progress across the southern flank. To date, they've struck more than 5,000 targets. U.S. Strategic Command bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound GPS-penetrating weapons on deeply buried missile launchers across the southern flank. We also have struck several one-way drone factories to get at the heart of their autonomous capability. And of course, alongside our regional partners along the southern flank, continue to execute intercepts against one-way attack drones using fighters and attack helicopters. Our strikes mean we've made significant progress in reducing the number of missile and drone attacks out of Iran. Ballistic missile attacks continue to trend downward, 90% from where they've started, and one-way attack drones have decreased 83% since the beginning of the operation. A testament to our air defenders and our air defense systems, and as I said, our partners in the region continue to do great work as well. Second, we're making substantial progress towards destroying the Navy. In the first 10 days of the conflict, we're more than 50 Iranian naval ships into the campaign using a combination of artillery, fighters, bombers, and sea-launched missiles. As Admiral Cooper noted last Thursday, we struck and sank an Iranian drone carrier ship, and U.S. CENTCOM continues today to hunt and strike mine-laying vessels and mine storage facilities. This work will continue. Third, against our objectives, we've begun to target Iran's military and industrial complex, again, focusing on centers of gravity to get upstream of the shooters out in the field in order to deny them the ability to continue to generate those one-way attack drones. Let me spend a minute talking about the joint force. Across the area of responsibility, this is gritty and tireless work, and I cannot begin to explain how incredibly proud I am of the extraordinary courage, tenacity, and grit and professionalism within the joint force. Last time I had a chance to talk about the Army's incredible logisticians who are out there sustaining the fight. Today I want to highlight a few groups of sailors. First, I want to thank the men and women of the Forward Carrier Strike Group and their families, and let all of them know how grateful I am for their leadership and service. The crews on board this strike group have already been endured months at sea only to get their deployment extended. These exceptional Americans, rogered up, all supported by their families, continue to stand the watch, taking the fight to the enemy over and over again, night after night. Aboard ships like the USS Ford and the Abraham Lincoln are a special group of sailors I want to highlight today. These are the men and women, the sailors up on the roof running operations on the flight deck. With an average age of the early 20s, these are the unsung heroes of naval aviation. These young sailors, known for wearing yellow shirts, are in charge of the catapults, taxiing jets around on the flight deck, shooting jets off the front end, and recovering jets off the back end. They are literally involved with every single movement on the roof on an aircraft carrier. They are the last ones that a naval aviator sees before getting shot off the front end, and the first one that a naval aviator sees after safely trapping on the back end. And just for a minute, imagine you're standing on that aircraft carrier flight deck. There's 30 knots of wind in your face. The deck is slippery, covered in grease. It's noisy. There are propellers spinning. There's jet blast everywhere. Helicopters are running. Your head is on a swivel, and you're trying to direct a multi-million-dollar fighter into a 1-foot square box so that those naval aviators can be shot off into the black of night to go do America's work. Those jets are fully loaded with missiles and bombs, and they are a world-class team combined with the naval aviation and the aviators in those jets. This beautiful symphony of American spirit is the definition of perfectly organized chaos. And these crews do it every single time the carrier is at work. Oh, by the way, in the middle of the night and oftentimes in the pouring rain. These are dedicated young people who take the road less traveled to serve their great nation, doing the deeds that we need them to do. America's enlisted force is the pride of every nation's military, certainly ours, and the envy of every other one as well. Each and every one of them out there across the joint force are extraordinary, and in particular today I want to highlight the yellow shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, our work continues. It'll continue to be difficult. I ask every American to keep our deployed force and their families in our thoughts. Combat deployments can be tough on the force and the families, and it's important that we continue to remember that. I remain deeply humbled by the 2.8 million members of the Joint Force, and I'll end where I started, and that's remembering our fallen and their families whose sacrifice will be felt forever. And with that, I'll take some.
One thing, too, I want to call out, and it's only because I got a little experience with this group of people and working in that same industry. Oddly, the equipment is identical. When I toured a carrier, the kitchen equipment they have was identical to the hospital kitchen I worked in for a number of years when I was younger. And it was a great part of my life and a great experience. It was back when I was pre-med, thought I wanted to be a doctor, and it was like getting me close to doctors. It was a great experience. But those people feed thousands, and each ship has their own kitchen crews. And without them, nobody would make it through their shift. So I wanted to give a good call out to the people in the food service aspect and all the people that help with that, because that is a trick. The way they get the groceries in there, the way they rotate them, the way they feed, the way they use that for morale, there is a huge amount of love to be put out there. President Trump just revealed U.S. military has a list of devastating targets that Iran better just back the frick down or else.
We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers, as you know.
Yeah, so they've made a big difference, changed the way things have played out. I'm not going to play this as far too long at this point. Why did I feel like that was worth it? What was it? Oh, Carolyn Levitt. Yeah, not worth it. U.S. orders Americans out of southeast Turkey after reports of CIA arming the Kurds. So we're pulling out of southeast Turkey just to kind of give you a map to help, because some of you guys are like me, some of you aren't. I am challenged when it comes to geography. I oftentimes like to go to a map because I'll budge it up. Turkey southeast puts it right here, right? So you got Syria, you got Iraq, and you got Iran. These are all things that we keep hearing about. Now, Lebanon is sort of a separate thing. That's where Beirut is, which Israel is attacking very heavily right now. But again, they're worried about the people that are close to them that seem to just keep allowing people to shoot rockets at them. So again, just to kind of give context, and then of course Iran, Iraq, all that stuff, we'll see what happens right now. It's very interesting. The Israeli, like what we're being told, is generally not totally the truth. Like it's kind of interesting. Something's happening. This is taking care of somebody. Deep state, we assume, because right now we are fully on the offensive, and there's offensive things happening, and the people that are getting hit are getting rocked. There's Afghanistan's being attacked by, I believe, Pakistan right now, which is, I don't know, they're getting beat up on. Afghanistan is. So some strange stuff. They're taking out supposedly terrorists there. I don't know. Who knows? The IDF conducted some precise strikes targeting commanders in the IRGC's Qud forces, the Lebanese Corps, who operated in Beirut. So they literally are hitting in the capital, Beirut. So, again, we're on the attack. We don't give a shit who you are. We don't care where you're at. We don't care, I guess. Right, wrong, and different. That's what's being presented to us. Does this escalate? I don't know. Lebanon, we've seen attacked many, many, many times. The hostages in Beirut, that was a big thing. So I almost feel like we're giving some retaliation back on that. And in some cases, I think Israel's doing us a favor, frankly. Suspected missile fuel precursor materials are sailing from China to Iran. I don't think they've gotten there yet, but this is a bunch of that like sodium perchlorate and stuff like that, they seem to think. And it's on its way to Iran. Now, this demonstrates a few things. One, China is very closely trying to help Iran with this, deep state again. And two, what are we going to do about it? That's going to be very interesting because, something's going to happen. We're going to give them a chance to turn around. I'm sure phone calls have been made and be like, I'll tell you what, if those ships go into port in Iranian waters, we will blow them up. You can say whatever you want. We'll make it look like an accident. I don't know. We'll figure it out how we want to do it. But I guarantee you, those will never dock. Or, actually, we'll let them dock, and then we'll blow them up. And then we'll blow up everything around that dock. We'll just figure that's a dock. That's a good target. Let's take it out. Trump truth is, if Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they have been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets. He already said this. We heard it. Iran's supposedly using a new munition or one that they'd never used before because it's generally considered illegal, though Ukraine's using them. But these are, and they, I think, wanted to open them back up from Europe, attacking Russia. These cluster munitions, which are just horrific. And the problem, if you don't know, I mean, one, they're nasty because they're like these bomb things, and these little bomblets come out. Like they spin, and and they just shoot all these little bomblets out. And these bomblets will explode multiple areas. They're like grenades each, so a bunch of small little grenades that if you compact, if it impacts something, it'll blow up. Sometimes they don't totally work right. Sometimes they just, I guess, hit and maybe scatter and blow up if they have fuses. But long story short is there's many people that have stepped on these things, found them on accident, lost limbs. I mean, they're just bad. I mean, kills you oftentimes just blows a limb off, blows a foot off or something like that. They're pretty horrific. And they're anti-personnel in a lot of cases, so they've got like shrapnel. So yeah, they're just really, 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 really nasty. Like a lot of things that we do in war. So all said, this is, let's see. Marco Rubio is just designated Afghanistan as a state sponsor of wrongful detention, joining Iran. Rubio plays no games. His quote, the Taliban must release Dennis Koil, Mahmoud Habibi, and all Americans unjustly detained in Afghanistan. The Taliban continue to use terrorist tactics to seek policy concessions, but it won't work under this administration. He's like, we're going to kill you is what's going to happen. So they're now a terrorist group. And again, we've got stuff happening in Afghanistan right now with Pakistan. They're basically kind of at war, for lack of a better way to say it. CIA faces furious backlash after hidden documents with potential cure for cancer is declassified. I mean, they're saying. And what this really comes down to is they say in their article, this is what they're saying, they literally wrote, quote, however, the document itself does not say cancer is caused by parasites, only that a Soviet study noted biochemical similarities between tumors and parasitic worms and observed that some compounds affected both in experiments. Look, just twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Anti-parasite cleanse. It's ivermectin mebendazole. Big dose of each, one capsule for each day. You get 90 pills for this price. It's a really sweet price. Actually, it looks like it's gone down a bunch, to be honest with you. That's awesome. twc.health/OTF. Parasites, what that just said. Just saying. twc.health/OTF. Ivana Lisette Ortiz, 35, she was arrested for firing 10 shots at Rihanna's home. She fired 10 shots from her Tesla, by the way, which is stupid. If you drive a Tesla and you go commit a crime, trust me, Elon Musk is immediately giving your location. Like, what cars, what Teslas were in this location at this time? Oh, yeah, 1 second, I'll give that to you. You're screwed, Lisette. For second off, she fired 10 times at a house. At a house. You ever heard the phrase, can't hit the broadside of a barn? A house. Well, out of 10 shots, how many do you think she rendered a hit on? Most people would be like 10 if you even have a kind of an idea how a gun works. Which end goes towards what? That person's not going to do so well. Shouldn't hand him a weapon. 4 of her 10 shots actually hit the house. House. Needless to say, fudged up. Not cool. You shouldn't. That's wow. And then second off, thank God people suck at shooting, I guess. I mean, I don't know. She's like, I don't know what she was doing. With the world seemingly at war, DARPA has found time to unveil a new X-plane. Kind of cool for all you gooks like gooks. That's not the right word I meant. That's geeks. What I meant to say. That's funny. Sorry. X76 is the new craft, and I'm probably not going to edit that out. I said it. Whoops. Shit happens. X76. This is kind of a weird, sort of like the Osprey, but like a cooler version, and that's what it basically looks like. Like they took the Osprey, and they're like, all right, this sort of works, but it kind of sucks. And so they got apparently foldable back props, and they've got some sort of cool-ass like turbine like you would typically see on a commercial craft, but more military-esque, if you will. And they're very efficient, and they're good. And actually, it's funny, is a lot of the thrust actually comes from just wind passing through it. They're surprisingly efficient. It spins that fan so fast inside of it, this turbofans, that literally it's not like it's thrust that's pushing you. It's that turbofan's pulling you for the most part. They're actually super efficient. Anyway, I guess the fins fold back from the vertical prop, from the vertical takeoff landing, and I don't know, the way the drawing shows, it's got some sort of cool-ass afterburner coming out of its butt. Don't know. Kind of a cool idea, though. And we'll see what it ends up actually being. But I'm assuming if it's basically trying to replace the Osprey because it's so slow, and those props are fucking huge. Which they might still have to be. I don't know. If you got turbo fan, and you can get those wings off the ground enough. Who knows? Maybe that helps get it off the ground too. Anywho, a 1,300-pound satellite is going to be entering the Earth's orbit tonight, Tuesday. And we don't know where it's going to hit. They always say it's most likely going to hit in water, and everyone's like, how do you know that? And it's because 70% of the Earth is water, so the strong chance it's going to hit water. At least a 7 out of 10 chance, but we don't know for sure. They suspect most will burn up, not all of it, and it will start re-entering at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 4:45 p.m. Pacific, and I am mental note 4:45. I want to kind of see if I can see anything outside. I don't know where it's going to come over, if it comes over anywhere, but you will see it. Anything that enters like that, it'll look like a shooting star, but if you see it, or if you're kind of close enough to it, you'll see it extend a pretty far distance in the sky. Anything more than that could squish our head. Anything more than that, it's like, woo, that's huge. So, yeah, it is huge. It's miles of debris. And you'll see pieces breaking off, and they'll also glow. And so, anyway, it's very cool when it happens. And, again, I wonder how flat earth people deal with this. I'm not trying to be a dick, just saying these are many of the things where I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that happens that doesn't, flat earth model just, how do you orbit stuff? Because stuff goes in orbits. You can see it. I've seen it. I've seen the space station with my own eyes. I know it exists. People can say it doesn't exist. I'd be like, I've seen it, though. I've just seen, I've seen ghosts. You can say you don't believe in ghosts. That's cool. You don't need to. I've experienced them. I know. I don't care what someone else says. That's their confirmation. You're allowed to not have to believe something. It's very cool. Anyway, all this cool stuff. I don't know why I went so hard in the woo, but it was somewhat of a woo tab. Ticketmaster's getting a DOJ slap on the wrist. Stop it. And that's about it. It's an antitrust debacle. And by the way, all the people that complain about the price of concert tickets, it's not. Why I can't even think of a stupid blonde chick's name that's marrying the football guy. What's her? Taylor Swift, that bitch. 86% of the companies control are this Live Nation company that is Ticketmaster. So that's who sells her tickets. She has nothing to do with it. She's just like, yeah, I want $100 per ticket. And they're like, okay. Or she'll say $50 per ticket. And they'll be like, okay, we're going to charge an extra $300. And she's like, I don't want you to. And they're like, you don't have a say in the matter. We're going to give you your $50 and we're going to keep $300 for every ticket we sell. So yeah, these guys are just butt pirates. Weird shit coming out of my face today. Whatever. Hey, look, we got a lot going on, lots happening, and I'm very curious to see where the war is at with Iran. There's not a lot of targets to go after, from what we understand. The price of oil's come way down. This week is very interesting because they're losing badly, and they've got to do something, but they don't have a lot they can do. They're being deactivated and replaced. And then they're like, shit, we have nothing. It's like, yeah, they're being cut off from everything. This is the awesomest time to be alive. I love you guys. I'm glad you're here with me. Where we go one, we freaking go all, baby. It's on the Fringe. Dan Radio Style.